I exchanged DMs with her yesterday because she thanked me for my comments, because I said if I was working there and she was ring announcing, and she was so good at ring announcing, and she would have came to me and said, "Hey Vince, I'd really like to, be a manager," I would have made that happen.
Let's get into the Samantha Irvin story. She opened up about why she left WWE on social media. She said, "I don't like announcing. I'm serious. Announcing was only supposed to be my way in. I wanted to manage, maybe even become general manager one day, but WWE saw no other future for me besides announcer. I love watching the action, but I don't love being an announcer." Vince Russo, do you think she's burned bridges with AEW, especially since the thought was she maybe get a big gig on AEW as an announcer, probably making significantly more money than WWE?
Bro, I think it's all a work. She talks about wanting to be a manager, and she wanted to be a manager, GM. Bro, can you not see her managing Ricochet at AEW?
AEW, yeah.
I could see that in a heartbeat. That's why I think this is one huge work.
You think you know all the wrestling stories? There's more you haven't heard yet. Join us on Backstage Pass.
Do you think she'll join? Do you think Ricochet will join the Hurt faction, the Hurt Syndicate, or whatever they're calling AEW? Do you think her and Ricochet will join?
No. If she managed him, he doesn't need to be part of the Hurt business.
There's been some teasers though with them joining though, and I'm all for it too, man. Ricochet needs to turn heel. I think it's about that time. I think it's a layer. It'll challenge him as a character to see if he can be more grounded in his moveset.
But bro, if she puts any type of energy in managing, she'd be tremendous. I mean, bro, I exchanged DMs with her yesterday because she thanked me for my comments, because I said if I was working there and she was ring announcing, and she was so good at ring announcing, and she would have came to me and said, "Hey Vince, I'd really like to, be a manager," I would have made that happen. I definitely, because I would have known, my God, if she's this good a ring announcer, she'd make a I would have known that. And Chris, let's face it, anybody can be a ring announcer. So if you see this girl has this type of talent and she wants to do more, let her do more and bring in another ring announcer. That's what I would have done.
Yeah. EC3, what do you think about Samantha Irvin's comments? And is this a lead-in to what we could see in AEW?
Possibly.
Speaking of MLB.
Yeah, if the hubby's over there, that's definitely a possibility. I don't know the backstage of it. Like, so the ambitions to either be a manager or somebody be general manager, like with the dynamics of her presence and her voice alone, obviously there's a hell of a lot of talent there. You wonder though, when talents leave companies, how do they pitch these ideas? How did she come to say, like, is it in passing, I'd really like to manage one day. Yeah, okay, cool. Or, hey, I'd be a really good general manager. Okay, sure. Like, sometimes the trick to creative is in incepting your ideas in other people's heads that can make the decisions, or providing case examples. Like, hey, I was thinking someday if I'm general manager, it's like, okay, how do we get there? Why? Well, here's how, here's why, and here's a reel of me in action being a general manager with this niche and this kind of unique take on it. And then you can kind of open their eyes to it where maybe now they're considering it. So I don't know how hard she pushed. Was it just conversations in passing, or was it like dire, like I'm throwing all these, what's the word, darts at the dartboard and hopefully one of them sticks, right? So did she do that? Did she go to that extreme? I don't know. But if she did and then it did not work out, then so be it. You see the lay of the land. She's done well enough where she's absolutely in her own right to take off and make her own decisions and start her own things. And I'm totally down with anybody that could live outside of that kind of control and do their own thing and make it work.
Vince, what do you think of Ricochet's, going into Ricochet? What do you think of his current AEW stint? He came in as a random entry in a battle royal and the gimmick was him and Ospreay. Let's work our way up to him and Ospreay. Can we put some legs on this? Can we put some time on this? Can we really work this thing up? And within weeks of his debut, we see the culmination already. So what's next for Ricochet since the luster and the intrigue of the big match between him and Ospreay is now off the table?
He brings in Samantha Irvin as his manager.
And you legit think that's going to happen?
Yes. Bro,
I
I don't know.
In the DMs.
Yeah, I don't know if Tony. Bro, does Tony not understand the reason why they're losing more? Bro, I said this week one. The reason why they're losing more and more and more people, bro, we've seen it all. There's nothing Will Ospreay and Ricochet are going to do in a match that we haven't seen before. We've seen it all. And I kept saying that. And I kept saying that's why stories and character are so important. Stories and characters are endless. They're endless. Wrestling moves are not. There are only so many wrestling moves you could do. And once you've done it, we've seen it. And that's what's happening with them. I guarantee you he would be 10 times more over if he were a heel and she was his manager.
I think the one thing, Vince, you're right. The one thing we haven't seen is a great story develop between Will and Ricochet. So I didn't see it, but as described, like he comes in, it's kind of in a random spot. Like that's a story you build and build and build and build and build, and you like culminate with like the epic match. And then so they've done. We can see the same moves, but now they have a hell of a lot more meaning when it's in the moment that matters. Because if you're gonna give me Will Ospreay and Ricochet and you're just gonna throw it out there, it's kind of like, I don't know, earmuffs, kids. But it's like getting an HJ and someone's got a glove on. Like, okay, cool, but this could have been a lot more, and we could have really built it up, and we could have really took it home, you know. So
yeah. Do you think the extra layer to that would be Ricochet turning heel and now he's going for the title again? It didn't work the first time. It was a triple threat, I believe, with Konosuke Takeshita, and now he's champion. But do you think how do you make that work as far as Ospreay Ricochet 2 and it's not the same?
Who's the champion right now?
Konosuke Takeshita with
who?
Don Callis' guy.
who is what championship is that?
The international championship.
So there isn't even a belt on the line with Ospreay and Ricochet.
Not anymore, no, because they don't. It was a triple threat that they were a part of, and Konosuke Takeshita won the title.
How much meaning does the title have? So that's the thing too, where to really get the most out of this, it would have to be, in my opinion, a world heavyweight title. Has the most meaning and the most you can build upon. And then whether that's, I would assume, Will winning it as a babyface with the culmination with Ricochet coming up through the ranks as a heel, doing a bunch of things to get back to it. And then you have a pretty epic showdown. But I think the World Heavyweight Championship needs to be the thing on the line to really drive it home.
I think what you do, Chris, is, and this would be a nice little swerve, you do the old, remember when Rocky lost to Clubber Lang?
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and remember the scene on the beach when his wife replay that. Let her have that. Let her here's what you do, bro. You let her bring his spirits up. You're better than that. Let her bring his spirits up. She's like the wind beneath his wings. Then we get to the big match, and they screw the guy.
They screw, yeah.
That's what you do. Right there, bro. That's what you do.
Yeah, that's heat, baby. That's heat. That's a swerve, bro. That's what you do. You swerve.
Yes.
If you do that over the long term, that's a swerve that's worth it. That's cool. Yeah. That makes sense.
And I guarantee you, bro, I think she would be a tremendous heel manager.
Yeah,
that would be very intriguing.
he shows up the next show in like this ridiculous garb and like she on his arm, and they're just all yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. This guy right here is EC3, based on how they put the frames in. I don't know who, so I'll just do one of these gimmicks. This guy right here is EC3. This guy right here is Vince Russo. I'm Dr. Chris. This is the Wrestling Outlaws. Have a good night, everybody. So long.
Vince, you should put that on Reddit, and maybe Tony will actually steal it and do it.
Maybe.
That's true.
I'm nuts.